Welcome to Hello Port Hueneme. I'm your host Tom Dunn, and we're at City Hall for another session of Citizens Forum with Rod Butler, City Manager.
Hello, sir. Good to see you again.
3.5 months. Understand you're pretty busy these days.
That's right. Yeah, the City Council just at the meeting this past Tuesday or Monday approved my own goals and objectives for the City Manager role for the next year, and also approved a strategic action plan for the whole city organization. And that contains probably 30 or more specific goals, different areas and functions of the city. A lot of it focuses on the finances of the city and long-range financial planning, but there's a whole lot of various projects and items to take care of. So we've got our work cut out for us now, but I'd rather have a clear set of goals to shoot for than just kind of be not aiming for anything. So we're excited about it.
Yeah. I'd like to start the show out, first of all, with, if you'll remember, we did a video of the Alaska Airline Flight 261 Memorial, the 17th anniversary of their memorial a couple months ago. And there were 81 passengers that perished in that. And at that ceremony was a lady named Janice Ford, and she lost 5 relatives on that flight. And of course that was quite a emotional issue for her to deal with, but she did deal with it, and she wrote a book, and it's called The Long Nights of Mourning. It is available in the bookstores, and she gave us a signed copy, and I want to present it to you and to the city because the city has really worked with them on the memorial and coordinating everything. So here you are.
Right.
Put it somewhere special, and
yes.
It's very good reading, and I'm proud to get it from her.
Great. Thank you very much. I attended my first ceremony. This was, having just started in December, it's the first ceremony that I was able to attend. But yeah, pretty powerful event that happens every year here as they commemorate the anniversary of that tragedy. So this will be something that we will treasure here, and we'll make sure that it's available both to our employees and maybe visitors at City Hall.
Rod, what I want to do is go over some of the issues that we have and update on them, and a new one we'll discuss. So on the first thing we had on our list was we had talked about Mar Vista, the city apartment complex that they run, and we had issues there with the ventilation and smoking and stuff. And if you'll update us on what's going to happen with that.
Sure. So on Monday, April 3rd, which is the next regular City Council meeting, and that same night, April 3rd, the Housing Authority Board meets. The City Council also sits as the Housing Authority Board. We'll be coming back, we being staff, with some information and reports on some of the concerns that have been raised. The smoking, prohibition of smoking, some of the issues with the facility itself. And so there'll be an update on that for anyone who's interested. Also, just today, in fact, I attended, several city staff members attended, Mayor Pro Tem Jim Hensley attended the quarterly meeting of the Mar Vista residents right there at the facility. And they had a chance to, bring their concerns, discuss some of these issues, including kind of working through the smoking prohibition and how that's going to be enforced, some of the issues with the facility there. So that was a really productive meeting, and there'll be follow-up coming out of that, but that went well, and there was a good turnout, probably 25 residents, which is a small percentage of the overall folks there, but it was much higher turnout than they've had in the past.
Will the issues that were discussed there also be included in the April 3rd meeting?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, they will.
Very good, because our first experience was after 9 months they came, and the Mar Vista people came to City Council and said, why haven't we heard from you?
Right.
9 months. So
right.
a big step forward, and this is how we hope to take care of things, from now on. The other thing I wanted to see if you've heard on again, and it's been in discussions for, now Mar Vista was 9 months to a year. This is 2 years almost, is the HUD situation. Any feedback on that yet?
Yeah, so there is a tentative settlement between HUD and the city, and we are just waiting for HUD to return the paperwork to us, the signed paperwork. Once that's done, then we can go public with what is included in the settlement. But unfortunately, until those documents get executed, we can't get into the dollar figure specifics. But we're pleased with the settlement. We think it's fair to both sides, and it will really be a benefit to the local community. Instead of a lot of money going out to Washington D.C. into a black hole somewhere, the money will stay local. And that's probably more than I should have said, but we'll be able to talk more in detail about it.
Well, you'll be able to explain where in the community this money's going to go and what it's designed for, right?
That's right.
Good enough. That sounds un-Washington-like, maybe.
Yeah, we're surprised.
I think it'll really help out here, and we're looking for as much money as we can to take care of the issues that we have. Okay, good news on that. On the bathrooms at the beach,
Right.
I think you mentioned, again, this is going to be addressed at a city council meeting.
Yeah. I'm going to use a little bit of mealy-mouthed language here and tell you that it will be either April 3rd or April 17th. Those are the two regular council meetings in April. And the only reason it might be the 17th is that we have some additional information that we're bringing forward about major projects on the restrooms, either at dollar figures is what I'm talking about, but also some specifics as to what would be involved for a major rehab of the existing restrooms.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, keep the shell of the buildings in place, but really go down to brass tacks and update everything.
Not just a cleanup.
Yeah, major rehab.
Well,
So that would be option one, and then option two would be actually, and I think this was brought up in one of the recent council meetings, what would it take if we wanted to demolish the existing one or both of the existing restrooms and then build from scratch? Obviously that's going to be a more expensive option, but we want the council to at least have those figures. Don Villafana, who will be a featured guest on a future Hello Port Hueneme edition, is our new Public Works Director. He started on March 6th, and Don has a lot of experience as a licensed engineer. Actually has been in the private sector and public sector, but he worked for the last 12 or 13 years for Ventura County Public Works Agency as their facilities manager, including things like capital improvement projects at facilities. So he's got a lot of experience in the whole world of whether it's major rehab of restrooms or building from scratch new restrooms in public facilities. And he wanted a chance to get those numbers pulled together and then incorporate them into the report that Carmen Nichols, Deputy City Manager, will bring back.
We had been discussing the community garden possibility somewhere in town, and you mentioned that I think there are 12 properties that are open for development, and I think March 9th you said was the deadline when people would be able to or had to put in their proposal to develop any of these properties, and then at that time the ones that had not been spoken for or anything we could maybe look at. Is there an update on that?
Yeah, so March 9th has come and gone, and we did have a total of 8 different proposals from different firms.
Out of the 12.
Yeah, not every person or firm that responded for every single property. So, there are some that are more interested in certain properties than others, but we got a good cross-section of responses from credible companies that have done development work, have done home building, have done business and hotel building. So that was encouraging to get that response. And there's still the possibility, though, that one or more of those 12 parcels, or maybe some space at a existing city park,
Oh.
could be used for community garden project. And Carmen Nichols intends to bring this issue up to the Recreation, I think it's Recreation and Fine Arts Commission, and
Yeah.
Recreation and Arts, which is a community that all Port Hueneme residents appointed by the council, and kind of get them started on this whole concept of a community garden and where it could go, what it would look like. We'll try to make sure that we include the folks that have contacted you that are interested in that whole idea as well. So I made sure I gave Carmen a little nag last week just to make sure that it was still on the schedule for her. And
One of the many nags, I'm sure,
that's right.
she's dealing with. Another issue we had talked about, and again, you were going to look into, is the crosswalk on Surfside Drive, right behind Surfside 2 and right in front of Surfside 3, where there's a curve right past the pavilion. And I went down there and drove by a little after dark one night. And as you go from the beach down Surfside Drive and you make that little turn, there is a crosswalk and there is a sign. And you sort of have enough time there to see if you're paying attention. But coming the other way, you come around a sharper turn and the sign is like, I'm going to 50 feet before the crosswalk, and it's up here on the right. Boy, at night you can go whizzing right by there and never be aware. Works and or the police department may look into that. Have they found out anything?
Yeah, they did several weeks ago when this issue first came up. They went out and kind of did a quick assessment of it. Now with the new public works director on board, I've asked him to go back and take another look as well. I think it's going to probably be an issue of lighting and signage. You know, I don't see us being able to justify a signal, a full blown, you know, red, yellow, green signal there.
No.
But I think there may be things that can be done in the area of lighting and signage, which is kind of what you've talked about. And so Don Villafana, who I talked about earlier, new public works director, is going to be assessing that site and a couple of the other ones that have come up from citizen comments to see, you know, what can we do to increase safety in those areas.
The tennis courts at Miranda Park. What you mentioned that this was going to be addressed. What is the latest on that?
Yeah, so as I think I may have mentioned in one of the previous editions, the city actually has money there to invest in Miranda Park and the Hueneme Beach Park. It's leftover redevelopment bond money, a little bit under $1 million actually. And the question is, with all the different demands that we have, things we could do, either in the beach park or Miranda Park, what should the priorities be? And I think there's a really good chance that some work on the tennis courts is going to come out of that process. I know we have a real tennis advocate who, you know, is advocating hard for a lot of investment into the tennis courts, and I'm going to put my neck on the line and say we're definitely going to invest some in the tennis courts, and we're actually going to try to get movement on that during this current budget year. So the city operates on a fiscal year that ends on June 30th, starts on July 1st. So we're actually meeting internally with city staff either next week or the week after that to get the process moving of let's start getting the game plan for spending this money. You know, it's not an issue of not having the money there. It's more, you know, where are we going to invest that money and in what's the sequence?
that is a good wrap of all of the things that we have that we've been discussing. And if you can make it to the April 3rd City Council meeting, there should be some of these issues, the finalization and what's going to be done by the city. And I'm glad to see that you and the city staff, I want to thank them for looking into this. And again, I look forward to meeting all the department heads whenever we can and have them tell us about their experience and what their goals are for Port Hueneme. Thank you for your time,
Sure.
Rod.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. And look forward to seeing you again on the next Citizen Forum. Thank you.